Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here to listen to everything you've ever wanted to know about intention, but were afraid to ask. This is your opportunity to ask questions of me live. And we have a webinar audience, and we will soon be uploading this to Facebook as well afterward. So I have loads of questions from all of you who were kind enough to send these questions in advance for me to look over and answer. And so I'm going to do that. And there's also the opportunity for any of you who are on here live to ask questions in the Q&A section. So I want to get started. And these questions, by the way, can be about intention in general, or about the upcoming Power of Eight Intention Masterclass, which kicks off on February 4th, just 72 hours from now. So let me get started with some of these amazing questions. And I loved them. So many of them were really, really interesting. So one of the first people, and I'm not going to identify the particulars, but somebody asked me, is there pressure to have certain spiritual or religious beliefs in the individual groups, such as Christian belief in God? Or do you have Buddhists? Or is there freedom to refer to a higher power as the universe? Let me get clear with this. The intention that I teach is essentially a kind of secular form of prayer. And the reason I make it secular without referring to any one religion is because I want it to be universal. I want this to be the broadest quote unquote church. And by church, I don't mean church. I mean collection of individuals learning and using intention to heal themselves. So there's a huge spiritual component to this. There's a huge scientific component to this. We bring it together with my intention course and with my intention work, but it doesn't adopt any particular religion. It has overlaps with many spiritual teachings in the sense that they are universal laws, in particular to love thy neighbor, because that is very much essential part of our Power of Eight intention groups. So someone else asks, will the classes be recorded, as I'm going to have to miss March 18th because I'll be in New Mexico attending a Greg Braden class at the time it'll be happening. I love Greg, and please give him a hug for me when you do get there. He's my dear, dear friend. Yes, every single one of these classes is recorded, as are my intention clinics that I hold periodically through the year. So you'll have access to that indefinitely as a class member. Here's a great one. What percentage of intentions work? Did you measure them for the last 2 years? Is the result temporary? How long does it last? Okay, well, I've run 40 intention experiments to date, working with prestigious scientists in many, many multiple universities, everything from the University of California, Princeton, Penn State University, University of Arizona, and then some in Europe, including the technical, that's the Physics University in St. Petersburg, Russia, and also Freiburg University. Of those 40, 36 have shown measurable, positive, mostly significant effects. To give you some sort of idea of our track record, there is no drug out there, no pharmaceutical drug with that kind of consistent track record. So yes, we have measured it. And yes, they last. Now, what about in our Power of Eight groups? We have measured brain waves and we've looked at outcomes. Most of the people who have major changes have permanent major changes. Some do relapse. I've seen one relapse because her group broke up. So I think there's something integral with the Power of Eight group and this kind of healing. What we have found as a rough rule of thumb is that for those people who continue to work religiously with their group, and by that I mean meeting mostly week after week after week, most people, the vast majority, have major permanent life changes. And that's everything from healing any kind of illness. And we've had everything from cancer reversing itself to somebody just told me that their group did an intention for her son the other day, and he had plantar's warts on one foot covered with them for years, and they disappeared. So we've had all of that and everything else in between. Two people have got out of their wheelchairs. People have healed genetic diseases like liver situations, a liver illness that was in a person who was lacking a certain liver enzyme and whose doctors told her that she was on course for a liver replacement. With one Power of 8 session, she healed it. So we see this over and over and over again. Somebody's testimonial could be a fake, somebody said. Not if there are thousands of them. And I've been witness to people getting out of wheelchairs, people who are paralyzed, in one case from the neck down. That is not a fake. Have you seen evidence of what you can do with movement disorders, with people with movement disorders? Oh, yes. We have done healing for people with all sorts of movement disorders, including multiple sclerosis. We had a woman last summer who pushed her wheelchair away, and she had MS and had arrived for her Power of 8 group in a wheelchair and was walking out of there. And many other movement disorders, from bad back issues to knee replacement. A woman was due to have a knee replacement, couldn't walk on her knee. It was so wobbly after one group intention, once again, she was able to do a deep squat and was able to cancel her surgery. So it carried on. We've had people who were going blind who have reversed it, people who are going deaf who have reversed it. If two of us could attend together at the same time, we're on a small fixed income. In the main, I've asked people to come one at a time. And what I would suggest to that is that one of you comes and learns what to do and then works on the other person. Are there replays if life happens? I realize the importance of full attendance, just the same. Yes, everything is recorded, as I said earlier. So if life happens and you can't attend one, you'll have the replay. I encourage everyone to come every week for the first 6 weeks, which are what I like to call intention boot camp, where we have 2-hour sessions every Saturday in February and the first 2 Saturdays in March. It's 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. UK, 7 p.m. Europe. So it's a maximum amount of time. And for all of you Aussies and, all of those people in Australia or New Zealand, everything is recorded. And what I did this last year was have a few particular sessions for Australia, all my Australian attendees, so that there are sometimes you can be live too. And of course, to answer somebody who asked about it, your Power of 8 group would be your local time zone or close to it, so that we put people into Power of 8 groups according to their time zone and their preferred meeting times, so that people can have the maximum time and the maximum number of sessions with your group. And that is where the miracles happen. How do I integrate the knowledge I'll get into my work, into my daily life? I'm healthy and I'm happy with my life. Is that the knowledge we experience to give to other people? Well, most people have something they'd like to improve in their lives, even if they're generally healthy and happy. It may be their finances. It may be their career. They'd like a change of career. It may be their relationships. They'd like a new relationship, or they'd like to improve a particular relationship. We had a woman this year who wanted to improve her relationship with her daughter. Had a woman wanting the same the year before. We've had people who want a new relationship, who are intending to find that special someone. So all of these areas, including, in fact, your life purpose. A lot of people who are generally happy in their lives would like a new third act, a new first act, who want to have a more meaningful, noble pursuit, as I like to put it, a more meaningful reason for getting up in the morning. Many people have done that too and found incredibly new reasons to live, new reasons to do things, new reasons to contribute to the world. What you learn in the masterclass is, first of all, how to do intention. I like to call it the 13 keys to intention mastery. In Intention Essentials, I teach an abbreviated number. I teach just 6 or 7. And so those keys, 7 keys, are the absolute essentials to doing intention well. There are 13 in total in my mind. And so I really help you to master them. But we also take it into our lives. So my level 2 course, which is Intention Masterclass, is about bringing intention to your life. So it specifically is working on your life. It is healing those areas of your life. It is about healing your relationships with other people, getting along better with everyone, overcoming negativity, and amazingly, overcoming self-sabotage, because people unconsciously self-sabotage their goals all the time. They don't even know it, but believe it or not, you're sending out 70,000. So it's 70,000 new thoughts every day, 70,000 of them. And the vast majority of those are negative. They are negative and unconscious. So what I help you do in this course is become conscious of what you're beaming out to the world and to change it, to make it positive, to make it purposeful, to master those essential keys. Can we access the scientific information gathered about cases of people who've healed with a group of 8, setting the intention to heal? In my book, The Power of 8, I've detailed many, many cases of people who have healed. On my website, and in that book, The Power of 8, I've detailed many, many instances of intention experiments. And what I've also done is detail over and over again many thousands of cases of people who have been healed, including their videos. So with the scientific experiments on the Power of 8 groups, they're detailed in my book, The Power of 8. And what we've demonstrated is extraordinary changes in brain waves that are nothing like meditation, nothing like Reiki. This is from a Reiki master. They are very, very different. They are essentially what group intention does is turn off the parts of the brain that make us feel separate. We're talking about the parietal lobes, which sit right back here, and they help us navigate through space. They tell us, this is me, this is not me. And those are dialed way down when people are doing group intention, and it happens very quickly. We also find that parts of the brain involved with worry, doubt, negativity, and that is the right frontal lobes, they are also dialed way down. So these are people in a state of ecstatic oneness. They are people whose brainwave signatures look nothing like those of meditation. They look almost identical to Buddhist monks involved in ecstatic prayer, or Sufi masters involved with chanting. So these are people who are essentially in a mystical state. But it happens even with novices The people we studied were student volunteers, most of whom had never even meditated before. And yet they demonstrated this immediate entry into a mystical state. So that's one of the incredible powers of a Power of Eight group, and why it works so well, in my view, is people enter a state of ecstatic oneness. They feel what the field looks like. And Stephanie says, it looks amazing and I'd like to take it, but I have 2 school-age children. One's quite sick and has been in and out of hospital for 6 to 7 months. My schedule is extremely challenging, meeting her needs while also helping her sister through a difficult time as a single parent. All that said, I know I can make this work in the near future. Is the Intention Essentials course a helpful substitute to help me in the meantime? Absolutely. I have created levels for these courses, and level 1 is for people who are absolutely new to this, and it gives you the real nuts and bolts of intention. And within the Intention Essentials, we have 5 sessions. We don't put you in groups. You can join your own group if you'd like. You can create your own group if you like with other course members, but it's not as detailed. It doesn't bring it out to the world as much as the masterclass does, and it doesn't address many things. The key element of the Power of Eight Intention Masterclass is the Power of Eight groups. We are actually putting you in groups. We are selecting a group especially for you in your time zone at your preferred meeting time, because what we're basically doing is creating the whole framework for you for major transformation. And as I said before, what I see is the people who meet week by week by week experience extraordinary transformation. Steph, we also see many transformations in the Intention Essentials class. So if that's something you want to take in the meantime, absolutely. And we'll be announcing when we'll be running it again, probably late spring, something like that. We'll be letting you know. So if you want to do that, and I hope that things improve with your children, certainly you'll want to do intention. Whether you take a class with me or not, you'll want to be doing intentions for your child, the one who's been ill and in and out of hospital. We've had many circumstances like that. Last year, we had an adorable little baby who was born with some sort of defect and had a perforated colon. And his father and mother were taking my class, and it had just started when he was born and had all of these hospital troubles. Our whole Power of Eight Intention Masterclass did several intentions for Hamilton Speckman. And he then got out of the hospital and was improved, and then went downhill again. We did more intentions for him. He's now a healthy toddler. And the doctors didn't even think he was going to live. So I've seen extraordinary things with Power of Eight groups, both keeping the parents in equilibrium. And that's certainly what we did for Tom Speckman and his wife. We were intending for them as well to keep them on an even keel through this roller coaster ride. When a group of 8 use intention to heal, is it vital that all 8 do all of this at the same time? Yes. Does it still work if intentions from the 8 go out at different times? It can. But the whole issue here, as I've observed, is it's about a group single mind. As one of my students just put it, she imagines her group as all these individual things coming together with this giant spout, and the spout being the common intention. As I mentioned before, our brainwave studies show that everybody very quickly loses a sense of individuality and enters a state of oneness. You enter a state where you actually feel that you are in the field. We are all in the field, the quantum field, all the time. My subatomic particles are doing a lovely little dance with yours all the time and everything else's. But we don't experience life that way. We experience life in separation. This is a moment where we don't. I also have seen repeatedly, thousands of times now, that when people are doing intention together, it supersizes the effect. I've also seen another amazing effect that occurs with Power of Eight groups and also my giant intention groups in intention master classes and in also my intention experiments. And that is that there is a mirror effect. When we do an intention experiment for peace, my participants' lives become more peaceful. I've also witnessed, and I survey the participants to find out what's gone on with them, about 40% consistently say when they've done an intention to say lower violence in St. Louis, Missouri, or Jerusalem, they experience healings or improvements in their own conditions. 40%. There's an extraordinary mirror effect. What happens in my Power of Eight groups is also a mirror effect. People feel good in doing an intention for someone else. And it's not just that, it's the mystical state, it is the altruism, and so many other aspects of it. Their lives heal too. I've seen over and over and over again, the senders experience just as many healings in doing the sending as the receivers do in having the receiving. So this rebound effect, this mirror effect, occurs in group intention, and that's why it's so important to do it at the same time. Sure, it can possibly work if you do it at different times, but the whole idea of it is experiencing that mystical state, and that is the healer, I believe. That is the secret sauce, that sense of oneness. I've pondered for many years why Power of Eight groups are these essentially fast track to the miraculous. How come I'm seeing all these people getting up out of their wheelchairs? The answer is severalfold. Number one, the power of intention. There's no question that our thoughts create our reality. And you know what? It's now been acknowledged by the Nobel Committee, the Nobel Prize. The Nobel Prize was given to 3 scientists last autumn who have been working for years about a strange quantum effect called non-locality. And that is, and I did a little video about it. If you're on my list, you would have received it last Friday. If you have 2 subatomic particles, here we go, we got 2 glasses. Now, if they are in contact, but you move them far apart, they will continue to affect each other, no matter how far apart you have them. You could put one on Mars and the other one on Earth, and they would still affect each other. Anything that happens to this one affects the other one. So these 3 scientists received the Nobel Prize for this. Why is this important? What does it have to do with you and intention? Everything. Because what it acknowledged is that the weird world of the quantum particle is real. It's not a figment of the quantum physicists, the quantum founders' imagination. It's not spooky action at a distance, which is what Einstein called it. It's real. It's a property of the universe. And along with that is another thing called superposition, which means, imagine a quantum particle is one of these flowers, one of these tulips. In its quantum state, in its state of superposition, it's not just one flower, it's every flower in this bouquet, all at the same moment. That's what it is. It's not an actual something. And what turns this bouquet of all possible states into a single flower is the involvement of the observation of an observer. The creation of that reality is a co-creation between observer and observed, and we're the ones doing the observing. That is another word for essentially an intention, although intention is an active state of saying, I want this particular flower, not that state. So that's why it's so important and powerful for us now. We now know it has scientific validation. It works, and I've certainly seen it. So intention works. Why else does intention group? Why else do intention groups work? Well, there's also the group effect. When people come together in a group, there is, as a psychologist in France called Émile Durkheim put it, collective effervescence. We all come together and it lifts everybody. And I heard that the other day listening to a recording of an old student of mine who was talking about how Monday is her favorite time of the week, and the same with everybody else in her group, because they all feel this amazing sense of being lifted in doing intention. They all feel that mystical state, and they feel better for the rest of the week as a result. So there's that. There's also altruism. That's a key piece of our Power of Eight groups and my intention masterclass. When people are stuck, invariably I will say to them, get off of yourself. Stop intending for you. Intend for someone else who has a more difficult health challenge or some other situation, greater financial difficulty. And you know what happens? 9 times out of 10, the person doing the sending also gets healed. Their issue goes away, as it did with Lisa Wheeler, who had a book she wanted to write and she was getting nowhere. As a body worker, body practitioner, she had a unique system for healing trauma, but she couldn't get past first base in trying to make a book out of this. She had never done it before, didn't know how to put it together, and went through 3 editors. So she was stuck. So I finally said to her, get off of yourself, Lisa. Start intending for this woman, Diane, who had a lot of financial issues, had a bigger problem. So she does that, and the very next week, she gets this overwhelming urge to walk into a store. She goes into the store, doesn't even have a reason for going into the store, but feels compelled to. And when she's there, she sees somebody that she vaguely knows. She's been acquainted with. Somebody introduced her once. She has this overwhelming urge to speak with her. She goes over, she speaks with her, and the woman says, when they're talking about what they're doing, she asked Lisa, well, what are you up to? And she said, well, I've been trying to do this book. I'm getting nowhere. Turns out the woman is a book coach. She was a publisher. She knows the whole system for getting something published, and she offers to help shepherd Lisa through the course, through the whole process. So by helping someone else, Lisa opens the door to her own manifestation. So altruism works. And then finally, that other piece of why this works so well is oneness, that power of oneness, us experiencing the field. I believe that is the state of transformation. When we're no longer those sad, little competitive individualists that we usually are, that we usually walk through life being, when we're finally part of a bigger whole, the way we are supposed to be, miracles happen. So, what's the best way to handle a word or intention for someone who has a life-threatening medical problem, but no definite diagnosis yet? Do an intention to find the diagnosis. What I teach in my masterclass is how to take baby steps when you don't have specifics. And that's one of them. Either that or do an intention to find the right practitioner who can heal this person. So those are two possible ways of doing it. If I just heard about you and your books and the power of intention, will you recommend that anyone attend the masterclass this year? Mariana, I think her name is. If you've just heard about me, it really depends on where you are in your journey. If you're completely new to spirituality and intention, I'd recommend that you take Intention Essentials. If you've done study with some other teachers, you know a bit about spirituality or the New Age or whatever, yes, come to the Intention Masterclass. You'll find out all about it by checking out my website. And I'm sure my team will put information about where to find it on my website in the chat. But there's a whole long page of everything that's taught in the masterclass. So have a look. Now, somebody asked me, do you believe in God? And do you believe that God sent his beloved son, Jesus, to help us with his teachings? Yes. I do believe that Jesus wanted everyone to know about his teachings, etc. Then why do I charge for my time? Okay, I'm going to ask that back to you. Do you work? And do you charge for your time? And do you work with other people? And do you expect for them to just not pay their mortgage or their rent? I have a team that has to work pretty much for a full year to make sure that everybody on the masterclass has a wonderful experience. We all have to work really hard, and they have to pay their rent or their mortgage, and I have to do the same. So it's like that. But let me put it to you this way. The cost of the masterclass is less than a cup of coffee a day. Isn't that worth doing to change your life? It is far less. I try to keep it at a very reasonable cost for an entire year's worth of teaching, so that the maximum number of people can take it. If it's beyond your means, there are many, many things on my website and in my work that are completely free. My intention experiments are free. My newsletters are free. My blogs are free, and vlogs are free. My podcast is free, and so forth. And we have smaller courses to fit every budget. The other thing I should tell everybody about is I will be launching a thing called the 8 Revolution, where I'm suggesting that all Power of 8 groups work together to create a new world. And I'll be offering tools for a new world for anybody who comes on that course. What happens after the course, asks one person. Well, remember, this course is a year long. And by a year long, I mean I meet with you live and interactively. So we do practices and exercises right on the live Zoom, just like this Zoom is live. We meet together with the whole class. I sometimes put you into groups right on Zoom. And we do all these exercises together. Then you go into your Power of 8 groups, which we have assigned. You meet with them once a week, usually for about an hour. And periodically, I run intention clinics where I help people hone their intentions. I make suggestions for people who aren't getting anywhere. I help people advance in many of the tools I give them. And remember, I give them tools not only to manifest things, but also to improve their relationships, to overcome negativity, their own or anyone else's, to read other people's thoughts and intentions. And we work on that. That really helps heal relationships too. To overcome self-sabotage and also issues that have happened to you that are blocking you from manifesting your goals. And finally, really help you run your Power of 8 groups properly and efficiently and effectively. And after the course, there are more courses with me. For instance, if you have finished the level 2 Power of 8 Intention Masterclass, my next level up is Healing Your Past. I run that as a retreat. I run it every year. We're running one in early September. I run this with my husband, Brian Hubbard, author of a book called The Untrue Story of You, which is Brian's own techniques, which he discovered and used on himself to get over an abusive childhood, and are now being used by psychiatrists in Europe to heal intractable patients or patients who've gone through trauma. So we work together, and I use my intention techniques to help people go back in time. So we have that. We also are looking at a certification course for people who want to teach the power of 8. We have more courses of bringing intention out into the world. We have the 8 Revolution, getting you and your groups together with other Power of 8 groups to create essentially a peaceful army of change agents. And boy, do we need it. Somebody else said many years ago, I learned the Silva method of mind control. So I'm concerned I'd be paying you money to learn things, many of which I already know. Well, there are certain aspects of Silva mind control and intention, but mine is a unique system combining modern science and ancient wisdom. And also, I don't know of any other course that uses intention to heal your situation in the world with other relationships, with negativity, et cetera, et cetera. So read all about it on my website, and then you can determine if you're going to be learning anything new. And also, it's about working in groups, Power of 8 groups. Somebody else said that they're really lethargic around the motivation area, so that they're difficulty in getting motivated. Well, that's why I think Power of 8 groups are so great, because I've had loads of people who just haven't been motivated to finish something or even to start something. I have an untold number of people who finally published that book because they had the power of the group, not only to intend for them, but also to answer to. So I think about people like Patty Rutledge, who needed to find out why she had such terrible chronic fatigue. And she said, I've made a vow to my group that I will use intention to discover why I have this. And she did. She found out it was due to black mold. But that was about the motivation she gained in being part of a group. Kate, you mentioned the intention must be specific. How specific? Can you give examples of good intentions? I find it hard to make it specific because you want to be surprised with the magic of the universe. Well, okay, let me ask you this. So if you are just buffeted by whatever happens to you in the universe, good or bad, how's your life going? What we're suggesting that you do is to be much more purposeful in your creation of things. If you're helping to create your world, what I have found, for instance, with my students is of those 70,000 thoughts they have per day, 80% of them or more are negative. That's what they're creating in their world. So what I help people do is be more purposeful. Does that negate good things happening to you from the universe? No, but it helps you become much more purposeful and positive and successful in every area of your life, from your health and your relationships to your career, finances, life purpose. How specific? Let me give you an example. Let's say somebody has got breast cancer. What I would tell a group to say is, our intention is that Jane Doe be immediately, completely, and permanently healed of or overcome all traces of breast cancer, including any metastases, particularly those in her liver and lungs, for instance, so that she's healthy and well in every way. That to me would be a specific intention. You're telling the universe exactly what you want. And why do you do it? Because you're telling the universe exactly what you want. When we have been very general in my intention experiments, they haven't worked. When we've just sent love to water, for instance, it hasn't worked anywhere near as well ascending intention to move that water by a single pH. Well, how does intention help someone with receiving desired outcomes with manifesting? I think I've answered that in talking about the fact that we're creating our world all the time. Now, I've had a couple of people asking from New Zealand and Australia saying the timing's terrible. It would be 4 a.m. When you're running the courses. Will it be run this early in the morning? Sadly, yes, to cover the maximum number of time zones among my community. However, your Power of 8 group will not meet at 4 a.m. They'll meet at a time they all want to meet in their time zone. And there are Power of 8 groups you could be part of in Sydney, Australia. So if you're not very IT savvy, Elaine said, I may need help just navigating all of this. Don't worry, we have people who will help you connect onto Zoom and connect with your Power of 8 group. Okay, somebody said, what if you're already undertaking a treatment for something that's been diagnosed? Would that be a conflict for the energy flow, or is there a kind of interplay that takes place? Many times, my groups, my own group too, I have 2 Power of 8 groups, we do an intention for the treatment to work better. So even if somebody is getting chemotherapy, the group will intend that the therapy work, the chemotherapy work, and the person suffer no pain or no side effects or something like that. So of course, work together. Somebody else said, why does it last a year? Or is the period mostly for scientific research? No. And in fact, it doesn't have to end at the year. I've just finished last year's Power of 8 Intention Masterclass. It just finished this week. And I've told the members of it, you don't have to stop meeting. I hope you meet forever. I have many Power of 8 groups from people who have taken my courses who are still meeting, still love it. This has become their intention family. They cry when they think about these people. These are people who have given them unconditional love, no strings attached, for years now. So it's a year just because I wanted to see initially when I started this. I first started doing courses in 2013. I then moved on to doing year-long courses in 2015. I wanted to see, I'd seen many, many healings in 6-week courses, but I wanted to see if every part of their lives would begin to heal. Now, just to give you an example, let me tell you about Gloria, who's been part of the class that's just ended. During the year, she was able to tackle several things, as most do. She lost 35 pounds, for instance. She found a diet that has also helped the rest of her body. She's been able to lower her doses of medication. She's a diabetic, and so forth. And so many people not only do intentions for themselves, but also their loved ones within their Power of 8 group. So we have Jay, for instance, whose father's cancer is receding because of the intention work her group has done because he's had no other treatment. So those are the kinds of results we see over and over and over again. It's hence why I suggest a year, because remember, I'm not teaching you every week of every year. You're meeting for your group. At first, you meet with me 2 hours a week for 6 weeks. Then you meet with your group about an hour a week. Most people can find an hour. And then every so often, I'll hold an intention clinic for an hour to 90 minutes to help everybody out, to refine your skills, etc. So you're only talking about an hour or at most 2 in the very beginning per week. So it's not a lot of investment of time, but the time cumulatively is what's powerful. When do I plan a new Intention Essentials course? Probably sometime in the spring. Okay. Is it a problem if one's not able to send out an intention every week together with the Zoom group? Just meet, like when they're traveling, just meet as much as you can. Is there a possibility to work with Flemish-speaking people? If there's enough on the course, we have people who join from around the world, pretty much almost every continent other than Antarctica. And if English is no problem, fine. If we do have loads of Flemish people, we will be asking you and sending you a questionnaire, as we have with the people who've already signed up. So we try to match you as much as possible. And again, I've talked about you don't have to go through level 1 course first. It's great if you're completely new to intention, you haven't done any kinds of techniques with other teachers. What does the course provide that's beyond what the book says? Everything. The book gives you a very skeletal outline of how to do intention. It also doesn't show you how to bring it into your life with relationships, reading other people's minds, overcoming negativity, and much, much more. And I don't offer 13 keys in my book. I have a few and the major ones, but not all 13. So it's about really refining your skills. I show you exactly how to word it, how to take baby steps, how not to word it. That's also important. What not to do, how you can use it in all kinds of areas of your life. Could I still enroll in your masterclass? I'm 72 years, male, and from Australia. Absolutely. You don't know how much about how to do intentions. You'll find out in the masterclass. Because you've been listening a lot to Greg and Bruce, and if you've been reading a lot about New Age stuff, you'll be able to easily handle the masterclass. And again, because it's Australia, it's unfriendly times for the live parts of it, but you'll be in a group in your time zone. Okay, 2 years past, you want to participate, said somebody, but it's taking much time. It doesn't. As I mentioned, we're talking about an hour, 2 hours on a Saturday in the first 6 weeks, and after that, 1 hour a week that you yourself determine when you can do. And yeah, of course, manifesting your intention will go faster if you join the course and learn how to do it. You'll have indefinite access to the class recordings, by the way. Is sending out healing, hoping that healing will come back to me, selfish and therefore blocking me? Yes. But that's the other beauty of a Power of 8 group. It's pure altruism. After a while, people are intending for you, and you open up your heart. That's what happens so often, and you're able to send out to other people. Let's see. Oh, assuming there's such a thing as the law of karma, then I would imagine that that sometimes it wouldn't necessarily be advisable to do intention work for somebody's healing. It would actually be counterproductive for the person's karmic reasons. So under that logic, I guess what you're saying is we should never try to help anybody heal. That's what you're saying. We should just let karma take its course. So you can be, as I mentioned before, buffeted by whatever comes your way, or you can be intentional in your life. And as we have discovered now with modern science, with the new science, we are creating the world. So my question to you is, do you want to be driving your own car, or do you want somebody else or something else to do it? That doesn't affect your, is there karma? I don't know. I don't really get into that. Certainly, I like the idea of it. I love that idea of karma never forgets an address, and that bad people get their comeuppance and good people get rewarded. Of course, I love that. But in the meantime, you can also drive your own car, and with the help of a group. Okay. Let's see. If I sign up to the course, do I get a complete copy of the course? It's not written. It's all verbal. It's all recorded courses and teaching. Do you get a complete copy of the course for future study and referral? You don't get it as a download. You get access to it. Okay. How often should one repeat the intention? Well, it depends on what's going on. What I do tell people to do is don't worry it. Don't keep constantly focusing on it. That's why the Power of Eight group is so powerful. I have past trauma that I'd like to clear up. Can I take the intention class beforehand? You can do the intention class, and I would recommend for the trauma taking our Heal Your Past retreat or our Breaking Free course. How can a group deal with members who aren't doing their homework regularly or don't seem to follow through with their intention to intend? The whole group can talk to them gently about it, about participating. Can I pay with a money order? Asked somebody. I believe so. I think one of my team members can write you with information about where to get hold of or how to write her to speak about that. Also credit cards, etc. Do I always need a group? As I mentioned before, or can I intend by myself? Our group members, our masterclass people do both. Will my group be English speaking? Yes, in the main, but if let's say we have 8 people who come from Germany, we can have them speak in German. Will there be a replay of the live Q&A? Absolutely. We're going to be putting this up on Facebook and sending it to all people who signed up. So now those are the questions I've had beforehand. I'm going to go through some of the questions you've popped up right now. What happens if our group stops showing up for each other? Are we able to join another group? Absolutely. And we monitor that too. Our team members monitor that if people have said, hey, our group is shrunk down to 4, we will put them together with another group. When you set the intention, for example, someone who has multiple health issues, do you pick one or do you throw them all in? You pick one at a time. Can one person do the healing? I've really talked about that before. It gets supersized in a group. Can I meditate and send intentions for myself and someone else and it be as powerful as when 8 come together and do it? You can do intentions for yourself, but Hope, let me explain something to you. It's not meditation. It's completely the opposite of meditation. As I mentioned at the top of the hour when I first started talking, our Power of 8 brainwave studies have shown that what happens in the brain is absolutely the opposite of meditation. So we're doing something very different with intention, but it's not as powerful as when 8 come together, but intentions do, of course, work. Is there visualizations we need to do, asked Farah? Absolutely, and I teach you how to do that in my course. But the visualization is always specific. You don't have to be visual to do visualizations. Sometimes people are auditory, and that works too. But we allow the mind to go and visualize a positive outcome. If doing the intention remotely, asked Cindy, is it best to send everyone a picture of the person doing the intending that's receiving the intention, or can the intenders imagine seeing the person? It's best if they look at the person while they're doing it. I have prospective partners. I want to see this. How do the groups get monetized? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Groups don't get monetized. They're doing this. They're taking a course with me, but they don't charge for doing this, and nor would I allow it, because I essentially am a gatekeeper of the Power of 8, and the only way that we would ever have other people charging for this is if they were fully trained in how to teach Power of 8. Otherwise, you have lots of people adding mishmash of things, and of course, it'll reflect badly on the Power of 8 and also on me. What times are classes? Pacific time, 10 a.m. on Saturdays. Do the Power of 8 groups continue? Absolutely. I mentioned you can carry on forever. How to phrase an intention for the peaceful end of the Ukrainian war. We've done that before. We've done some intentions for Ukraine, and it really is an intention for the immediate and permanent cessation of all aggression and all arms and all violence, and that both sides are able to resolve this. I would do something like that. I would also intend for the maximum resolution for the Ukrainian people. But that is going to get into, I don't want to get into that because that can get into a big political debate, and I would rather not go there. What is the basic first course teaching I can take from you? That's Mindy. That is Intention Essentials. Emma, I answered that classes will be recorded. What happens if the group breaks up or if people don't show up? As I mentioned before, Leah, we put you into another group. And even now, we had our last meeting with the 2022 class, and a few people said, well, we're down to about 4 or 5, and we've already offered to put them together and with another group. We'd always put them together with a group who has taken the same year's master class, so they're all on the same level. What is the main reason for intentions not succeeding? This is Pete Chang. So many reasons. Oftentimes, the intender doesn't believe it. Sometimes the intention's way too vague, or you throw the kitchen sink in. I've had lots of people say, I want, I want my finances sorted. I want to find a wonderful relationship, and I need my health improved. And they'll throw all of that into one thing. So it's oftentimes the kitchen sink reason. Sometimes people don't know what they really want. So I have techniques for all of that to help people isolate what they really want, focus very, very specifically, and hone in on things one at a time. Somebody asked if I ever did Ho'oponopono. Anyway, I can't pronounce it. Ho'oponopono, I think it is. I have done that before. I don't add other techniques into the intention work I do or intention masterclass for one very important reason. As I mentioned before, we've demonstrated through brainwave studies that our work is very different from meditation, is very different from other things. It creates different aspects of the brain. So while I agree that all kinds of techniques work, including this one, which is 4 different things that you say out. I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you. And I think there's one other part of it too. And I've seen this work really well. It's different from what I'm doing. I'm focusing on helping people co-create exactly what they want. If you need to know your reasons for pain in life situations, another question is if you need to know your reasons for pain in life situations to heal them. You'll find out. It's okay. It's okay to learn while you're having pain or life situations, but also heal them. So you don't need to wallow in it. I think when people have pain or difficult life situations, if they're awake, they will learn about things. Have intentions been able to impact dementia? I've seen it heal many, many so-called mental illnesses. And also, people find out, using intention to find out why someone has dementia, to heal that too. That's also worked. Vision issues heal. Have we seen this, says Therese. I had a woman last year, Lori, who was going blind, who had 2 detached retinas. She now has 20/20 vision in one eye and 20/25 in the other. Her doctor said there was nothing she could do for retinal and detachment, and her group healed it. And type 2 diabetes, many people. Gloria, she's going right down in her medication. I talked about her earlier, and lost 35 pounds. Nothing else has worked before. Late stage Lyme disease. Mindy asked about this. What do I do for late stage Lyme disease? Well, I would intend, what is the best course of treatment that's really going to help me? And can this work if I'm working on myself? Yeah, but it'll work better if you work with a group. Have we seen healing in members who are not the specific target of the intention? Many, many times, Kathy. How would you formulate an intention for healing from the return of cancer? Very similar to what I said. Our intention is that Jane Doe be immediately, completely, and permanently healed of this recurrence of cancer in her left breast and any metastases, et cetera, et cetera. So exactly what I said before, maybe just return of the cancer. Sometimes you can also do an intention for why am I getting this cancer? Or who's the best person to heal me? One of my partners is writing a book on creating personal shifts through healing trauma. How does this compare to many other modalities? Well, Laurel, I use intention in a very different way in healing trauma. We use retro intention techniques, group techniques with it to heal trauma, for forgiveness work, and much, much more. And also resetting the vagus nerve. So I don't know of anybody who does that and uses also my husband, Brian Hubbard's techniques that he calls time light, becoming time light. I don't know anybody who does this. It's an original theory and system. Why do we need to have fixed times if we live in the future as if it happened today? Well, we don't have to. You mean, why do we have fixed times for meeting? We don't. We have fixed times because we as a species have agreed upon fixed times. Any good quantum physicist tells you that time does not exist. Carlo Rovelli would tell you there's no such thing as time. There's no such place in the brain that understands time. So what I tend to do is use groups to formulate the future, which tend to work better. Can a person have more than one intention over the year? Absolutely, Leah. Many people move on. They'll get one intention sorted and they'll move on. You're meeting every week and you should be able to get through about 3 intentions a week. So you'll be having more intentions done for you every 3 weeks. Kareem says, will energy and mission used together with intention have better results? No. We have intention is energy emission. And I discourage everybody from trying to mash up different techniques. If you're using chi emission, do that separately. Don't do it during intention work. Do I have resources to learn how to do Power of 8 intention groups? Even if I don't have money to pay for your courses, have a look at my book, The Power of 8. You can take that out of the library. Anna says, I've been disabled for 7 years, so I've had trouble making money, but I know I'll be able to. You bet you will. So my Power of 8 group, or join my community and create a Power of 8 group, and you can start working together. If one is already a spiritual person and has tried for years to make a living with her gifts but doesn't really succeed, do you think a few meetings can change this somehow deep-rooted failing? I have seen this happen over and over and over again. I have many examples of people who were on, I had one woman, Bev, who was on her last 200 pounds. She's British person, and her group intended for her to have enough money to start up her business. And out of the blue, she gets a note from Lloyd's of London, which she had once worked at, saying that she may apply for a grant, that she's eligible to apply for a grant. She does, she gets it and receives a load of money from them and is able to start up her business. Can members of a group all be in the same region as well as the same time zone? We try our best to do that. Okay. Nice to hear from Mariana, who's in St. Petersburg, where my mother used to live. How specific does your intention have to be, asks Leah Lutz. As specific as possible. Laurel says, is this late spring, the same masterclass? No, Intention Essentials is a more basic course and a much shorter course. Are there more than one Power of 8 groups a year? I guess she means a masterclass. Nope, just one. Does the intention of the group all work at the same intention during a session? Usually about 3 intentions. Okay, somebody asked, Vicki said, I'm interested in retroactive intention to remove childhood trauma. This is really the subject of our retreats and our Breaking Free course, an advanced course. Can it be done if you don't know the precise moment of trauma? Absolutely. We show people how to do that. Elizabeth says if she can't afford the course, can we just imagine there's 7 other people working with us? No, join my community, Elizabeth, and ask to have 7 other people join you as a Power of 8 group. Have a read of my book or use some of the tools that I have for free on my website. How can I assist Black men to learn, live, and thrive in today's world? How can I use intention to create a mind shift in Black consciousness? Well, first of all, I think that they should be people they have to agree to want this and to do it together. And we have many people of color around the world doing Power of 8 groups. I think the best thing is really joining my new movement, the 8 Revolution. I'll be telling everybody about that very shortly, providing tools for doing that. And I'm creating groups of change around the world for just that sort of thing. And various people have asked how to join the class, how much it is it? And if you look at the chat, Laura will write more about it and where to get hold of information about the course. Somebody has offered, Krista Smith, we are about to start on Saturday, but if you write to Laura, you can talk to her about any financial issues. Laura at wddty.co.uk. How do we decide what will be the group intention? I give loads of information about how to determine it together, whether you should do the whole healing at once or baby steps. But I will tell you this, you can try the big intention. If it doesn't work, you start taking baby steps. Intention bounces back. How does that work? Should you express your own intention before doing the intention for someone else? No, just the act of altruism. Altruism. People who do things for other people live longer, healthier, happier lives. I've covered the power of altruism in great detail in my book, The Power of 8. And it's about getting off of yourself that seems to work the best. And you don't have to mention your intention. By doing for someone else, you get healed. The Power of 8 groups meet about an hour a week. Has a Power of 8 group been blocked by the intended person to be healed because the person is negative in their beliefs? No. I've had people who don't believe in it be the subject of intentions and they still get healed. It's amazing. Okay, let's see. Yes, does the other person need to agree to be the focus of an intention? Yes, unless they are in a coma or a baby or a small child. Is this a lifetime commitment? It doesn't have to be, but I think you'll find that you won't want to leave your group. Everybody calls it, most of my attendees call it their intention family. They cry when they talk about the group. They say, they're the people who help me get back on the horse when I fall off. Or they're the people I can go to with a totally safe space. Imagine it. Have you ever in your life had a bunch of strangers sending loving intention to you? with no expectation of payback. Can you imagine that experience? That's what it is. Very few people in my situation who are actively committed to the group want it to end. Is there a certificate to be a Power of 8 leader? In terms of teaching it, yes. When you're in your group, we have people, I suggest people revolve and rotate leaders so that one person doesn't become a bossy boot. Do the bossy boot. Kirsten says, do the groups stay together after the 6 weeks? Oh yeah, the groups are together for a year. Okay. Thanks. And Jackie said she's reading my husband's book, The Untrue Story of You. It is great. What will the prerequisites of an 8 revolution be? I really want to heal systems in nature. It is just being part of a Power of 8 group. I'm going to be giving all of the tools for free for that. Okay, let's see. I see there's 6 classes in a year. They're consecutive, Vicki, from the 4th of February, each Saturday in February and the first 2 Saturdays in March. Thereafter, I will have periodic intention clinics through the year. If you miss one, I move them all over the place so that people have a maximum ability to join. Okay. How do we handle negative people in the group? When things are gelling, a person will start talking about her sadness, about negative things. Well, they may have sadness, and hopefully the group will help her and also reflect back to her that she's being so negative, she's bringing down the group. But I also hope it's a safe container, as we encourage people to have, so that people can open up about their sadness. If one person in the group of 8 decides to leave the group, can it be filled? Yes, and we start out with more than 8. It doesn't have to be exactly 8. 8's an ideal number, but we usually add more than 8 so that if 1 or 2 people decide not to or can't make it every week, that you have a critical mass. Okay, and yes, people can. We usually do fill the gap with our courses anyway. Okay, well, we're getting somebody saying, how do we intend to stop the Amazon rainforest to be saved? I'm going to be providing some intentions to help people with my 8 revolution, to be sending intention out to be part of the community. Okay, somebody said that they signed up some days ago. You'll be notified which group you're in. We have to put people in groups, and it takes a bit of time. Okay, and if there's nobody in Belgium, what happens? We make sure that you're in people in your time zone. Have I seen healing of Parkinson's? Yes. Have you used intention to heal someone who's already died? Yes. We've done intentions for safe transition, happy transition, peaceful transition, all of those. Do we always need permission to send a healing intention? I think it's optimum, absolutely, because somebody may not want it. If they're unconscious or they're a child, no. And we've had situations where people don't believe in it at all. I had a wonderful situation of Faith. She was an audience of mine, didn't believe a word of what I was saying, had been forced to come to it. I did a Power of 8 groups with everybody in the audience. She was part of it, and her back healed. She had really bad, painful back. And even though she didn't believe a word of it, it's quite interesting. If I fail with earning enough because of low self-esteem and not even knowing what exactly I should do, can the Power of 8 heal that? Yes. Because you can ask your group to intend for you to get clarity about that. So let's see what else. When a practitioner class is created, will this be part of this? No, Tanya. Specifically for practitioners, we can put people into groups, whether they're practitioners or not, with a year-long class. But I also run a class called Become a Better Healer with the Power of 8, which is specifically to help practitioners of every variety, whether doctors or alternative practitioners or whatever, anybody in the medical profession with the healing arts, to improve their success rate using the power of intention. Okay, let's see. What if I feel I'm already fairly advanced? How would I know I'd be matched up with other fairly advanced beings? Not an ego thing. I just think I have much more powerful experiences with stronger souls. Not necessarily, this is an anonymous attendee. It just because they are more advanced in their teaching doesn't mean they're not good or they're automatically good. I think getting off of yourself is probably the most powerful aspect of coming to a powerful Power of 8 group and being able to send with a pure and open heart. That has to be your number one ability and number one attribute in successful intending. Also, in following the course. And oftentimes when people are fairly advanced, they want to add in lots of other modalities they've learned. More is not better. In fact, it's usually worse. Okay, let's see. I'd like to start a group in Frankfurt, Germany, with the main subjects being stopping child abuse, human transfer and torture. How can I start? Well, Sabine, I think you need to read more, maybe take a course. I do courses in German as well. I have a Power of 8 course in Germany coming out in April. You may want to investigate that on Mamanda. Okay, it's getting close, and this class starts this Saturday. It does. That is the February 4th. So have a look in on the course stuff. Corrine says, if my spouse and I are both interested in taking the class, do we both have to sign up or can we take the class together? You both have to sign up, but if you write to Laura, we can probably give you some sort of discount for both of you joining. What's the absolute cutoff date to sign up? Sometime next week, because the first week is recorded. Okay, let's see. Right. I think we're just about, can we do an intention to heal animals in the group? We've had loads of that. We've found lost kittens through intention. We've healed horses that were supposed to be put down. Rachel told me a wonderful story. She was in this current class that's just ended, of her dog who was having seizures, and she thought, uh-oh, this is it. And old dog, it was about 15. The group did an intention for the dog. The dog's now acting like a puppy. So yeah, we've done many, many animals. So guys, I've got to let this go now. It's been really wonderful answering all of your questions. I hope this has gone a great deal toward answering every question you've ever wanted to ask about intention, but were afraid to ask. So I hope lots of you have been motivated to join my Power of 8 Intention Masterclass. Again, it kicks off this Saturday, February 4th. Hurry up. We are filling up. And we have limited capacity because we use a live and interactive Zoom call, Zoom meeting. So we can only fit a certain number of people to give this a great experience for everybody. So join up. You'll be part of it. You'll be able to raise your hand, ask me questions right then and there live on this course and in the intention clinics. You'll be able to practice with group members right on this. And once you're put in groups, there's a new mechanism on Zoom. My tech guy has just explained to me where we can take you in your Power of 8 group, anyone who's shown up from your Power of 8 group, and keep you together as a group so you can continue practicing live on my course. So I hope to get to see you. Don't forget, if this course isn't quite right for you for whatever reason, please check out my website, lynnmctaggart.com, and you'll find loads and loads of other resources for you with different price tags, and many of them free. Thanks again, and I hope to see you there or sometime in the future. Thank you.